Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Greykowski, creator of the Better Brain Blueprint and the founder of this Mastermind Alliance. Welcome back to another fireside chat. We're going to answer some questions relating to some of the comments and things related to our gut and our brain health this week. In this Mastermind module, we're undergoing the thinking process. We use the acronym TEAM, our thinking, our eating, our action steps, and the adjustments that we make, and also our movements. But there's a lot of questions about what we eat and how that might relate to our overall brain health. In our academy, we go into that A to Z also in detail, but I'm going to address some of the questions. Some of them relate to the immune system. Some of them are relating to certain conditions like attention deficit, autism, anxiety, and Alzheimer's. And they all have very similar challenges when it relates to our nutrition. And there's also some questions relating to what should we do to keep our gut healthy? So first off, it's important to understand that there are 10 times more microbes in our gut than there are actual human cells. That means that these commensal microbes are part of our normal processes to not only for blood clotting mechanisms, making of vitamins, helping in the production of brain transmitters. So I'm going to address three specific things in relation to this. That's our gut-brain health. Number one is the connection between our gut and our brain. The enterocells of the gut actually make about 90% of our serotonin, and the communication goes along a nerve from a part of our brainstem called the vagus nerve down to the gut. So this communication back and forth actually helps in making serotonin and the uptake of serotonin, which is a brain transmitter. If our serotonin levels are off, one of the most common things that we can have is depression or anxiety or memory problems. So these challenges can come about just because our gut bacteria are not in proper balance. In the gut, there are 100,000 different strains of bacteria, 100 trillion different types of cells. If we take a broad spectrum antibiotic and kill off a lot of the normal bacteria, certain types can actually get out of balance. A lot of research is taking place in the levels of brain health in relationship to the type of gut bacteria that are actually found in the digestive tract. There are certain types of bacteria that create a healthier brain function, certain ones that are lower that can lead to things like Parkinson's and MS. Other bacteria they're finding that are low in autism and attention deficit and Alzheimer's. So if we have these certain gut bacteria that are out of balance that have a lot to do with the chemistry, a lot to do with our brain transmitters, it can throw our body off. I recommend that a person obviously looks at getting a good gut flora. Obviously, vegetables are a great source of creating gut bacteria. All the different colors of vegetables on a regular basis. Those probiotic enzymes in the vegetables are very good food for the good bacteria. If we eat a lot of foods that are, say, GMO, genetically modified foods are lower in zinc and lower in manganese. These two micronutrients are very important for the binding of two GABA, and serotonin in the brain. So our brain transmitters are not getting enough of the binders or the micronutrients to make these neurotransmitters. So if we're eating a lot of genetically modified foods, we might not be getting the proper micronutrients that we need for our normal gut bacteria to create the normal chemistry to create the normal brain transmitters. The other factor that's important to understand is how it affects our immune system. If our immune system is off, we can have autoimmune problems where we start to attack our own body. If we have a leaky gut and a leaky brain, this can lead to a lot of problems. Inflammatory foods are one of the biggest causes of this. What are inflammatory foods? Well, sugar is a big inflammatory food. A lot of processed foods, hydrogenated oils or your bad fats are an inflammatory food. Things like gluten. That's why it's a big thing in being a gluten-free diet, because we have genetically modified wheat and different grains, so they are having these foods that a part of our brain, our xenosensor, sees them as foreign. So it triggers a fight or flight response. It affects our brainstem, which goes to a part of our brain called the amygdala, and we're in this constant fight or flight. So that triggers anxiety. It can create panic attacks out of nowhere. And you're wondering, why am I doing this? And what do we do as a general society? We want to medicate. We want to put people on all these different drugs as opposed to really seeing how can we get our gut bacteria in better balance. There's several different ways that you can do that. On a regular basis, you should be doing some sort of probiotic foods or probiotic supplementation. I recommend my patients that they get at least 10 different strains in their probiotic supplementation, and try and stay away from foods like, say, yogurt that has a lot of sugar in it. You might think that you're getting enough of the probiotics for your gut health, but if there's a lot of sugar in it, you want to stay away from that. You want to have at least 10 billion colony-forming units. They're called 10 billion CFUs on your probiotic, the bottle. So it says 10 billion or 20 billion or 30 billion CFUs. That means that that will form at least that many colony-forming units. So they start to take over and put good bacteria back in the gut. Anytime you've been on a antibiotic for a long period of time, this can really throw your body off. And if you've been on them over and over again, this can lead to a lot of different health conditions. Get your gut right, making sure that you're putting the proper foods into your body on a regular basis. We're going to go much deeper into this in our academy, the Better Brain Academy, where we talk about all the foods for eating. Just for today, if you're suffering depression, you might want to, instead of taking antidepressants, look at just supplementing what's called 5-HTP, which is 5-hydroxytryptophan. That is something that helps in the natural formation of serotonin in the body. You may want to supplement some zinc and manganese if you're eating a lot of foods that you may have looked at where your micronutrients are off. That can help with your immune system. And it can also help with the endocrine system, that hormonal system that can be thrown off if our gut health is out of balance. So if our gut health is out of balance, it can affect our brain transmitters, it can affect our immune system, it can affect our hormonal system. So get your gut right. Make sure that you're looking at what you're eating. The more processed foods with preservatives, MSG, different types of oils that are there to preserve foods, and things that are not natural, unnatural sugars, all of those have inflammatory processes. So this week, really look at your labels. If you can't understand what it is, I probably wouldn't eat it, because there's a lot of hidden inflammatory foods and preservatives in canned and boxed and bottled foods. So go more natural this week. Try and get as many organic foods as possible and start to build your gut bacteria. When patients get sick this time of year, first thing I do is you got to get your gut right. During the holidays, during Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and into the new year, we tend to get our body out of balance with the types of fatty foods we're eating, the more sugars. So now is the time to really look at getting back to, if God made it, it's probably good food for you. Stay away from genetically modified to get your micronutrients back in balance and get your gut back in balance. You'll be able to think better, you'll have less anxiety, and over the long run, you're going to have a much better brain. It's Dr. Bob. Keep leaving your questions so I can briefly touch on those. If you want more clarity, just ask another questions and I'll get clear as we go through this process. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have an awesome rest of your day.